So to start the program, can I kindly request everyone to say sadhu?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Panchahi bhikkhave angehi anuggahita samma ditti cheto vimukti palacha hoti techo vimukti palani sansacha panya vimukti palacha hoti panya vimukti palani sansacha patamehi panchehi idabhikkhave samma ditti silanuggahita cha hoti sutanuggahita cha hoti sakaccha anuggahita cha hoti sampatanuggahita cha hoti vipassananuggahita cha hoti ime iko bhikkhave panchahi angehi anuggahita samma ditti cheto vimutti palacha hoti cheto vimutti palani sansacha panya vimutti palacha hoti panya vimutti palani sansachati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, today, 23rd of April, we are meeting once again another mindfulness session that we have on a weekly basis on Tuesdays. As part of this program, we usually have a discussion and a talk. And the topic for the talk from few weeks has been Anuggahita Sutta, or supported factors discourse, or some call it supportive factor discourse. So this discourse is found in the numerical discourses and in chapter 4.5s. Under that, there is another group called group of fives. So in that, you find this particular discourse. And the meaning of the particular verse that we just recited is the Blessed One is saying, monks, when right view is supported by 5 factors, it has awareness release as its fruit, awareness release as its reward. It has discernment release as its fruit, it has discernment release as its reward. And which 5? There is a case where you support it by virtue, supported by learning, supported by discussion, tranquility, and insight. So these are the 5 factors by which our practice will be improved. Practice will be progressed. So we have started, we have discussed few points already, mainly the virtue factor we have discussed in the past, where Blessed One advises that in various discourses that we were able to find to support the virtue element in our practice, Blessed One is simply saying you should not be virtuous for the sake of being virtue. It should be facilitating your practice. So in order to facilitate your practice, virtue has got to be balanced. You should not be a rigid, senseless, virtuous person. It should not be just a ritual, but virtue has to have a meaning, and that meaning should lead to the practitioner to sit comfortably and observe in-breath and out-breath, or do a walking practice without being scared of anything that will be affected from the outside. And that fear from outside will reduce when you are a virtuous person. When you are honestly virtuous, when you are virtuous with a meaning, not just because someone says, you have deliberately, voluntarily, honestly accepted to not to do things, and you stick to that, and that gives you a tremendous amount of mental strength to keep your eyes closed. And that element of virtue will lead you to, the Blessed One says, chitta visuddhi, or the improvement of the mind, or the purity of the mind. So the main reason why we should have a virtuous factor is for that. And when virtue is gradually improving and virtue is gradually supporting your practice, and when the mind progress is supported, then you will have experiences coming from your practice. And those experiences that come from the practice should now be supported. To support the experiences, to know about the experiences, to have an understanding about the experiences, Blessed One says, you should have the listening supportive factor. So these listening supportive factors we were discussing last time, and they are mainly, we discussed that Buddha is having 73 types of wisdoms, 73 types of knowledges. And of those 73 types of knowledges, the first one is Sotavadane Panya Sutame Jnana, which means when you have attentive listening, that gives you a knowledge, that gives you an understanding which is learned from hearing, right? So that knowledge is called Sutame Jnana, or some call it Sutame Panya, and that comes from listening. So therefore, the Blessed One is saying this listening is necessary, because when you listen, only, number one, you will receive right understanding of what mindfulness is, and then how that will affect your mindful life, and what sort of experiences will come from your mindfulness, so on and so forth. So such knowledge, such understanding improves whatever experiences that you get from the practice. And also that listening will give you additional information, additional knowledges that you may not have known if the listening factor was not there. And also that may clear any doubts regarding the practice, regarding the comparison of the practice, regarding your interpretation of the practice, so on and so forth. And also the listening straighten our view. So we may have certain viewpoints when we do our practice. And for example, some may think that you can practice only if you worship Buddha, or some may think that only Buddhists will be able to practice, or some others I have heard saying there are certain other ritualistic meditation practices that should be followed before practicing any vipassana. So those are the viewpoints, those are the views we have. Those views may be eradicated or minimized or straightened when you have this listening factor. And moreover, from the listening factor, even if you don't practice, a lot of people are listening, That's simply because it is the highest knowledge that one can have as a human being, right? So that gives you a lot of intellectual entertainment. So present day, a lot of people are listening to sermons, listening to talk more than they practice, simply to get that intellectual entertainment. But that is not at all enough. That if you get addicted to it, that becomes another cancer. And that has happened in the present day Buddhist world. So that's the summary of what we have discussed. Now, today, we are going a step forward to the third supportive factor, which is discussion supportive factor. So the main difference between listening supportive factor and the discussion supportive factor is that discussion supportive factor is very energizing because both the parties are involved. One is asking a question, then the other party or the listener or the teacher may be giving an answer, and the student may challenge that, or student may counter question that, and then the teacher will have another further explanation to it, so on and so forth. It is very energizing, it's very involving. So therefore it's more active. Discussion supportive factor comparatively more active. My teacher used to say, it is like swimming as opposed to watching a golf game, right? So, so active in what is going on. So therefore, when Buddha starts certain discussions, some discussions goes for hours together. Even as lay people, when we had discussion and we really get involved and they are going for long time, and that is the energy that the discussion is creating. So especially these days when we have the Sunday session in the morning, and I have not been doing a talk for a long time. That is because I was studying for my exam. And although time allocated is 1 hour for the discussion, every time it goes for about 1 hour and 45 minutes, 50 minutes, if not 2 hours. So that much involvement is there in the discussions. So therefore discussion factor is very important. And because of the discussion factor, you also get the 5 advantages just mentioned, the 5 such as having new knowledge, confirming the knowledge that you have, and eradication of your doubts, so on and so forth. Those advantages are also there in the discussion supportive factor. And the important thing in the discussion supportive factor is that you will be able to talk about your practice. If the discussion supportive factor is not there, and only the listening supportive factor is there, you will not be able to have any opportunity to discuss what's going on in your spiritual world, in your spiritual life, and you will not be able to know whether you're on the right track, whether you're on the right path, whether there is anything to be done, whether there is anything to be corrected, etc. So therefore, this discussion, so far as the practitioner is concerned, very important. And similarly, for the teacher also will be able to have an understanding how and where the practice of the student is going, since there is a discussion support. And because of the discussion supportive factor, we usually in our programs, especially when we have full-time residential retreats, there is a time allocated for it. and there you give your reports. This is what is happening in my practice. And therefore, listening supportive factor really dwell into your practice. And it is in our tradition, it is so structured to help, to facilitate the practitioner. And we have a precise format in which you will have to present your report, where you'll have to say whether you are talking about the walking or the sitting or your day-to-day activities. And if you are talking about any of these things, then you will have to say where you pay your attention to, whether you're, so far as walking is concerned, whether you are paying your attention to the sole of the feet, or whether you pay your attention to something else in the walking process. Similarly, in sitting, where you pay your attention to, and day-to-day activities, and where you pay your attention to is important. And then once you have mentioned where you pay your attention to, then you should tell whether you were able to do that. And if you were able, what observations you made. And then if you were not able to do it, then what affected? Why couldn't you do it? Instead, what did you have? And whether you observed that instead of the main attention point. And in that, what informations you gather. So like that, it is very, very well structured just for one purpose. The purpose is to check whether the practitioner is getting onto the mentality of mindfulness or just meditation. So there is a big difference between meditation and being mindful. Meditation means you develop your practice. So people keep talking about their development, the cultivation, but they don't know what to cultivate. They don't know what has to be developed. So this way of what do you call arrangement, this way of structuring is done in order to ensure whether they get this message right. So if people are not providing sufficient information, then the teacher is able to understand that he is practicing, but he's not providing information, which indicates that his continuous awareness is lacking. Then the teacher has the opportunity to tap his back and say, okay, these informations are fine that you have given, but give additional information, give more information between the 2 points that you have mentioned. Today in Nisaranavanaya, when I was taking the reports, one person said, I feel my legs while walking. I feel the soles of the feet. And after, sorry, and after some time, I feel that I'm just pedaling a cycle. I said these two events are good, but when you are mindful, you should be able to give information that bridges these two events. Initially, you are observing your sole of the feet, and how that observation, with what information did you come to this pedaling stage? So for that, practitioner does not know that he has got to provide those information. So the teachers will have to make use of this discussion supportive factor to educate the student, to provide links, informations that bridges the two events, and then gives you example. So then they understand that it is not just picking events from one to the other. You have got to have continuous awareness. When you have the continuous awareness, you should get specific information, and how those specific information gradually changes, you will have to observe and then specifically report. Say, for example, when you feel your feet, you can say, I feel my feet. When I place my foot, I feel very cold. And when I lift it, and that coldness gradually disappears. And then when it is fully lifted, I can see the other leg is slowly lowering down, and then it starts feeling the same coldness. So whatever sensation that you will have, and when I keep observing that sensation, and that also gradually changes when I lift it, and I keep on observing this for some time. When I keep on observing this sometime, I have my attention continuously to the walking process. And after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I feel I am not specifically observing anything in the foot, but I simply see the movements of feet. And when one is lowering, the other is raising, and when one is placed, the other is gradually lifted, and when one is moving, the other is gradually getting stable footing on the ground, so on and so forth. He starts observing, now not the sensation, he starts observing how the two legs are complementing each other to keep the weight of your body. So when you see that, now your attention is, instead of being on one leg, now your attention is on both the legs. And you keep on observing this supportive actions of the two legs to keep you moving. You simply let that happen. And then gradually this rhythmic movement, your mind start reading that as, pedaling a cycle, or walking in water, or walking in mud, which means now your attention is completely now not in the sole of the feet, in the entire walking process. So like that, teacher will be able to instruct, teacher will be able to highlight how the two events are having instances or the occurrences or the information that bridges the two. And if after the advice, if the practitioner is practicing and then closely observe what's going on, he will be able to come out with how what he said is getting linked from his own practice. From his own practice. So that is an advantage that the teachers are having, and also the students get that advantage to enhance mindfulness. It's not just enhancing mindfulness, enhancing continuous mindfulness. So therefore, this discussion supportive factor is playing a major role in clearing the reports. And also, when a report is provided for the discussion, that gives, in addition to the information given in the report, the manner in which it is written also highlights the person's mind, whether he is a person who is having worries for everything, or whether he is a person who would like to do things intentionally, or whether it's a person who is easily ready to become an observer, or whether he is a person who doesn't care about anything. He just let things happen and just happily observing anything. So these informations will not be directly written, but the manner in which it is written will be in the lines between the lines. So those things can be picked up by a teacher only when there is a discussion. So again, today, when I was listening to the report, somebody had written in its both walking and sitting. He has written very nicely about a half a page. I was observing, I was allowing all these things to happen. And then after about half a page or 3/4 of a page, he says, my mind wandered to a thought, then I brought it back. And similarly, in sitting or walking as well, my mind went to a sound, then I brought it back. So this is how he had written. So from that, I was able to see that when the mind is going out, he is activating himself to pull the mind back to where the attention has to be. So this is a very good information for me to guide him. It clearly shows that he doesn't like his mind wandering away. And if he wanders away, he immediately gets his gun and get involved. Don't go out, come in. That is what he says. I brought my mind back. So he's doing things intentionally. He doesn't like the mind going away, and he's more interested in having his attention to the object instead of being aware of what's going on. So those things can be observed only when we have this discussion supportive factor. And also, especially if it's a verbal report, from the tone of the person, we will be able to see whether he's a person who is really allowing mindfulness to happen, or whether he's a person who likes to control things, so on and so forth. So that they will not be really mentioned in the words, but the tone will give some indication. So therefore, all these things, although we don't consider that very important, what matters is just the information. No, the discussion is giving a lot of other secondary supports for the teacher to understand the student. So therefore, this discussion supportive factor, Blessed One says, it's a very important role of the teacher, and that is how he or she will be able to become a good leader. And if the discussion supportive factor is there, he takes that opportunity to teach all the good qualities of a good teacher, good leader should have. And if you remember, when we were discussing what do you call our Pratavinita Sutta, relay chariot discourse, Buddha very clearly mentioned that from the monks who came to worship the Blessed One after Ren's retreat, he asked whether there is a leader in the community where my hometown is who has these qualities. The qualities he was asking is a person with person having a few wants, and a person contented, a secluded person, unentangled person, having aroused persistence, an exemplary in its own virtue, exemplary in its own concentration, exemplary in its own discernment, exemplary in his own release, exemplary in his own knowledge and vision of release, etc. And not only that's that, those 10 points are not important. He's asking whether that person talks to the monks of having few things, talks to the monks of being contented, and talks to the monk on seclusion, talks to the monks on entanglement, non-entanglement, so on and so forth. Whether he's giving talk to the monks to arouse persistence, giving talks to the monks to have a perfect balanced virtue in the practice, or talking to the monks about perfect discernment and having the perfect release, having the perfect knowledge and vision of release. So if he is able to talk to the monks about their practice, about their requirements, about the life, monks' life, about their necessities, then that leader will be able to, not only he has these qualities, he will be able to introduce those qualities to his pupils as well, to the community as well. So so that is possible because the Blessed One has very clearly mentioned and requested monks to have this discussion supportive factor. So discussion supportive factor therefore is much more important in building up the relationship between the teacher and the student. So that reporting gives the teacher also another important idea, whether that report is something from his own experience or whether he is reading it from somewhere, or whether he's writing a report just from listening to a talk. So some people, instead of actually observing their experience, they give their experience thinking. They think it should be this, and it has happened. He mentioned this in so and so talk. So when such a information is found and when we cross question, then they will say, why you said in that particular talk you said this, and that is how they write reports. So even those things can be picked up when we have the discussion, whether you really practice and write, or whether you just base it on talks and sermons. And the reports also give the teacher the ability to understand the spiritual qualities of that particular person on one hand, and on the other hand, he also can identify the defilement, whether he is more towards sensuality, or whether he is more aversion character, or whether he is more what do you call deluded character, can be understood, can be seen when the report is provided. And on the other hand, whether that person is more towards concentration, or more towards faith, or more towards energy, or more towards wisdom, can be understood when the report is read. And some people, those who are really energized, they give details of walking and sitting for each fraction of a second. so closely observe. And some people, they don't closely observe. They let things happen. And when they get some momentum, when they get some concentration, they just let it happen and then lose mindfulness, and they get more attached or attracted to the concentration. So therefore, those spiritual and defilement characters will also be highlighted in the reports. So there are plenty of examples of those nature, and that is why the Blessed One is using this discussion supportive factor, and he mentioned, so far as discussion and the listening supportive factor is concerned, this can be done only by a noble friend. A noble friend is a person with whom you deal in your practice. So therefore the Blessed One says it is 100% requirement. You must have a noble friend, not when you give dana, not when you offer flowers in the temple, not when you just go and listen to the talks in the temple. But if you practice, you must have a noble friend who will be able to understand these things. And he is not telling all these things there. He says, you 100% must have a noble friend. He only is able to guide you in the right direction. So those are the main advantages of discussion supportive factor, and that is why the Blessed One has very clearly laid this path for us and made this path for us. He has mentioned that this discussion must continue, and although we are living in thousands and thousands of miles away, we are having this thing because it is so important. Today we can have those things because the technology, when technology is supporting for everything else, now we are using it for the right thing. Now we are using it for the right course. So we are able to meet and still comply with the advices of the Blessed One. So therefore the Blessed One has not left anything untouched, has not left any stone unturned. So far as the practice is concerned, he has seen everything and laid a wonderful path for us to walk on it and sense, feel, experience what he experienced. So hope this talk energize you and encourage you to achieve such experiences. So may you all be well, happy, and moreover be mindful. Blessings of the beautiful Zen.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Everyone, Saranai. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. Any questions? I'm not quite sure whether I'll be able to hear, but do you have any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple of quick ones, Bhante.
I can't hear you guys here.
Firstly, I think, like, I don't know if this is a bad thing, but I wanted to ask you last week. I can't
hear.
Oh, you can't hear?
No, it's not your fault.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can talk now.
Okay, perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep, you can hear us okay?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Yep, you there? So, basically, I wanted to ask you this last week. I think I've like got addicted to meditation. I know this sounds a bit funny, but like, I kind of like when I'm at work, I meditate in my lunch break for about 45 minutes every day, and I meditate at nighttime. But it's kind of recently, the last couple of weeks, it seems like I'm almost addicted to meditation, and I'm now using it as like not wholly and solely, but there's some times that I'm kind of using it as an excuse to escape from the world we're living in. That's one thing. And the second point is just last week, I've been like hypersensitive with many things. Like the other day at work, there was nothing really going on. There was nothing stressful or anything. And I almost cried. And there was no reason behind it. I had no like agenda to be crying. Like, I just don't understand, but I was just hypersensitive last week. I'm just wondering what's that about, because I've been doing a lot of meditation and in regards to like sense faculties when I'm meditating, I seem to be fine in like, I don't really, to be honest, I don't give a shit what's going on in the world when I'm meditating now, but I feel like I'm addicted to it and I'm getting like oversensitive when I'm at work. Have you got any feedback on what I've just said, or does it make any sense?
Yeah. Now, addiction is something natural for all the human beings. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a bit muffly though, Bhante.
Yeah, because it's very badly and heavily raining, and we have still roof, so it makes things very interesting. So I'm trying my level best to speak from top of my voice, but you'll see.
Yeah, it's a bit muffly, Bhante. That's okay.
You can turn off the speaker sometimes. Probably, I don't know whether the speaker is causing.
Sorry?
He said maybe turn off the speaker.
Turn off the speaker or turn up the speaker?
It was good during the sermon, but now
Yeah, because the rain just started.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I have turned up the volume a bit as well so that at least I can hear. So, addiction is something which is common to all the human beings. We consider addiction to liquor, or addiction to cigarette, or addiction to drugs, or addiction to women, and those bad things are addiction. No, the entire human race, all the animals are having addiction only. So of this addiction, now we have another addiction. Now we will have to see whether that addiction.
I have addiction to cans of Coca-Cola as well.
Yeah, like that.
I have for about a year, and I still can't get off the blood thing.
Yeah, so very good. So like that, meditation is also an addiction when you really practice it. But the question is, which is better? And of course, the meditation is an addiction to come out of all other addictions.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And that lets you purify yourself physically, that allows you to purify yourself verbally, that helps you to purify yourself mentally. So a lot of other garbage addictions are being thrown away, are being burnt out by this new addiction. And then Blessed One is introducing this addiction with awareness. So what happens is, since everything in the world changes, even this addiction, now it is so good because you have some sort of an entertainment, some sort of a liking, some sort of gain compared to sensual involvement. So this is why you are addicted to this. You get more happiness out of it.
Yeah.
And then you have come out of therefore the other addiction. And when you keep on doing this, your observation will let you see even the happiness from this addiction will gradually drop.
Yeah.
Which means this addiction also drops off. So at the end, what will be left is only observation. So when observation is left, you have no choice. You simply observe, and that cannot be an addiction, and that will not be an addiction. That will be part of living. Your entire living will be not addicted to something, to gain anything, but you will be aware of all what is going on. So gradually, he introduces mindfulness for you to have some relatively superior happiness, and from that superior happiness helps you to get rid of other rubbish addiction, and then that superior happiness, superior addiction also get caught up in the normal nature of the universe, and then you will be left with what brought that addiction up. What brought that addiction up was the awareness, and you will be left with the awareness, and you will be happy with the awareness because you have no addictions to maintain now. When you have an addiction, you will have to maintain, you will have to stick to it. But when that addiction goes away, you are not crying because you created that addiction from awareness, and you are happy to be aware of the loss of it as well. So therefore, that addiction is not a bad thing. That is something that is necessary in the past. So that's number one. Number two, when you say you are hypersensitive,
Yeah.
that has been there right through in our human existence, or even before that. But now we can see that sensitivity. Earlier we were not able to see that sensitivity. We were part of it. We were that sensitivity. Now we have slightly moved away from involvement in that, identifying in that, and we look at it as a third person. So because of this distance observation, now you start seeing you are more sensitive. It is not that you are more sensitive. It has been there. You have the ability to see the sensitivity that was there right through.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
It does make sense because, like, previously, before any of this occurred, like, I've always naturally been quite a sensitive person. Like, I'm easy to wind up. I'm quick to sort of get emotional and things like that. So I think it's always been in my nature to be sensitive. But the reason I'm asking is it's just difficult because my job position at work, I can't be like, I can't be like that. I need to be like a boss or like a manager. And, sometimes I just like my emotions the last couple of weeks have just been like, especially just the past week, they've just been like almost like feminine style, like a woman. It's, I don't know, like, it's very bizarre.
Yeah, no, it is the change in our attitude. Earlier, you have the mentality that I am the boss, I am the leader. Everyone will have to work the way that I am telling them. But now you are more with yourself, and you realize how agonizing that is to yourself. So therefore, to keep yourself happy, you don't take those negative sentiments. So when you don't take those negative sentiments, on one hand, and on the other hand, the boss role is also coming and making suggestions. So you get caught up in two worlds. And when you get caught up in two worlds, you become very indecisive and become very helpless. And then you feel that I'm more like a woman. I mean, with due respect, I'm not a man, and I can't take any decisions properly. That is because you are changing yourself. You are changing you are removing the negativities that you have. So when these things happen, you will have to be aware of it. You will have to accept that. You will have to observe it. That I am puzzled in the two worlds. Because you are moving from the negativity to positivity. And when that move is happening, part of you is accepting that and part of you is not accepting that. And that has to happen. It is like, when a child leaves parents, on one hand, child can't leave parents as well. And the parents also can't let the child go. But he has to go for his own good, for her own good. He or she will have to go to the university and go far away and stay away from the parents.
I see.
But you are caught up. So in this scenario, when you move from one mentality to the other because of the practice, you get caught up in this battle. Then when you get caught up in this battle, this is a juncture that you will have to be again mindful. And how you become mindful here is you start labeling the situation yourself. I'm indecisive. I'm confused. I'm puzzled. Right? Accept the situation. Right? Because we don't think from the practice that these things will happen. We think, okay, when we practice, a golden limousine will come and the two guards will open the doors and you will be taken into, around the universe and show all the heavens and show all the hells and you will be aware of anything. So the heaven and hell is here and that is opening up. It has been there, but we never saw. So things are going well so far as I see it.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for the content. That was very informative. Thank you.
Very good one, Sarana. Anybody else? Anything else?
Bante after a long time and
Welcome.
yeah, nothing wrong. It's the kind of, if I explain today's meditation, I can explain like a lot of details where the ground changes and when I walk on carpet, how the strings of the carpet pressed, and then where I start feeling where usually I don't feel the areas, and then when I change into again to the flow, how the heat changes, and when I was observing these changes, I have from the past, like you might recall that I don't like a lot of thought processes, but it's coming. It start to come like immediate thought processes are immediate things I'm tackling. Maybe someone in hospital, someone need to be organized, something in some presentation at work. Those thought processes, like in between, I shift in between those thought processes and walking meditation. Walking meditation may be like a one turn. I kept like a turning count, and then I usually knows where I coming back to walking meditation. Usually it happens when change the situation, like if I change from carpet to floor, there's a indication or signal for me to come back. And the tricky bit is how mind flies from walking meditation to those thought processes. It's a very small signifier, like it might be a smell, might be a light, the fraction of second. It's very, very subtle, that's to go there and observe that very subtle moment of that first thought, and then it's just a branch. It's going looping, and that's about walking meditation. In between those two processes, until around 30 minutes, I came a little bit late, and with the sitting meditation, I don't have a lot of details, as you know from previous. Usually, I bring my mind to the body, and then next one is bring the. Sometimes do the body scan. Today I did body scan, and then bring attention to the and that maybe 2-3 cycles, and then come to that dark space, and that's where I was unable to observe a lot of details there. And what I know is time to time I'm coming out of it, and then same routine. And the question I have, yeah, you might say that, yeah, I'm expecting things like, it's a lot of things I know the path now, like even thought processes, I know the path, I know where I'm going. Do we need to have a progress in meditation? Like you're sitting like years of doing the same thing, and you don't expect anything, and this is is that all? And that's the question I have. And
Yes, so let me understand the question. The question that you have is whether there is something called progress in meditation, and to have that progress, whether we will have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Is that the question?
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, there is something called progress in the meditation. Yes, you will have to keep doing the same thing. That's exactly what Buddha said. Bhaveti asevati bhaveti bahuli karoti. So means you repeat the same thing innumerable number of times. And in that process, how you define progress, so far as I am concerned, is to what extent your report is provided based on the physical experience. Right? Anything, how you feel in your body, that is important. So how gradually, naturally, whether your mind has come to the body is important. When, say for example, when the breath has completely gone away, you don't feel the breath. If you do no harm not feeling the breath, but you feel your body now.
Yeah.
If you feel your body and the how you feel your body and how subtle you feel your body. Similarly, walking. Right? So attention has got to come to the body, and the experiences report should start stemming from the bodily experience. And that is when the progress is happening. But for people to come to that stage, some people come very quickly. And based on the defilement, some people take time. So there is therefore no hard and fast rule how and when it has to happen. And important thing is that you will have to keep practicing and then ensure that you are always trying to be mindful than anything else.
Yeah.
And that and the fact that you are mindful is only ensuring that you will be either with the body or with the pain or with the mind or with phenomena. All these things must culminate through the body. So therefore, try to have your attention, no matter what, to into the body as much as possible. Into the body as much as possible.
You suggest open mindfulness more towards the body, not the mind, like not the thought process, because sometimes I
No.
have more
I mean, if thought process is natural, I can't say you should not do it. But when thought process is going on, you observe it,
Yeah.
and then see what happens and see how it affects your body.
Okay.
Say, for example, some thought is coming, you immediately observed it. As soon as you observed, did you feel it in your body? Ujung kayang panidahe. If you have focus, attention, reference, reporting to the body from whatever scenario, feelings is of course connected to the body, but mind is not directly connected to the body. But there is a link if we very closely observe.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are able to observe the mind and see how it affects your body, then you will be able to see that subtle layers that in the body that you have not yet touched, which are affected by those thoughts.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? So therefore have the attention to the body. And when you have the attention to the body, try to use that opportunity to stay and dwell more into the body.
Yeah, I have a issue with the reporting as well. Even I had seen like wonderful reporting, like very detailed reporting. I observe sometimes similar facts, probably, but when I'm reporting, a lot of missing information, a lot of gaps, and how because if I overthought it, that's also manipulation, because then I am thinking about reporting during my meditation. I don't like to do that because I don't want to make a story line to you. And but naturally, I'm recording less information. Like even I recorded during the meditation. When I expressing the way of I meditate, I find it I'm telling like maybe 10% or 20% what I have experienced. Yeah. How I can improve that reporting.
Try to stick to more physical experiences. And the thing in your case is, since you are going more towards the mental process, right? And you don't have much to talk. Mental process is just one thing. It keeps thinking and you keep observing and keeps moving from one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. But
Yeah.
when you observe that, if you try to see how it affects your body, then you have additional information to report. There's nothing to make up.
Yeah.
So try that link. Try to bring information that are hidden in our physical processes.
Okay.
And although I say this, it is not something that we should very rigidly enforce on us. It has to naturally evolve as well, because these are natural processes that the defilement, accumulation of defilement is a natural process in itself. So evaporation of that, depreciation of that should also happen naturally from the practice. So these are, when you do these things, we should not declare all out war. You should have the gradual conversion into the from the current practice into the observation of the body.
Yeah. All right.
Right? So don't therefore rush. Take your time,
Yeah.
take your stay cool and use your normal techniques and slowly introduce these things into the practice.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you.
Everyone, sorry.
Everyone, so.
Anything from Tanuka?
Yes, Swaminathan. I'll try to be quick, but I just want to share my experience from the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I started getting pulled towards the ground a lot more, like not really during the practice, but like throughout the day and stuff. My body started getting. Can you hear me?
I didn't get you. Falling to the ground?
Yeah, so my body felt like it was getting pulled to the ground.
Yeah, so is it naturally slithering down or do you get thrown into the ground?
I'm not thrown in, just like getting slid in, naturally like pulled in.
Yeah, okay.
This was happening gradually, and
Yeah.
I eventually got to a point where I finally started feeling like who I was before the negative energy release and all the psychosis, all the wrong stuff I read on the internet. Like before everything that happened, I started feeling like who I self, like properly started feeling like the actual environment, like the real actual, like things started feeling real again. And then from then on, it was back and forth. From then, like when I was in this stage, like my body was feeling heavy. So everything felt normal, everything felt real. And then I started getting elevated to like where I was again. So when I started getting, it was just naturally happening. I was just aware of it this time. And my body was feeling light when I was here. And so this is where all the crazy stuff was happening. So, I felt like I could hear people's thoughts. This is where all the panic attacks happened. And then, the highs and lows, all that. And also like there were times like, losing track of what time of the day it is or what day it is. All that stuff. And so this was happening back and forth. So I was getting pulled back to the real world, like every now and then, like maybe like once a day, and then it will go back to the other stage next, like after that. So this was happening back and forth. And so when I was getting pulled back, and during my practice, I started labeling things a lot. So I started looking at where the cravings were coming from. So when I was walking, I started seeing like the different versions of myself that I was playing, the different parts of me, and I just kept looking at them, and they just kept disappearing. So I just kept doing that. The person who I was before, like everything. It felt like everything was starting to come back, like who I was before this. So I just kept looking at this person. I went deeper in, and when the cravings came in, I started looking at where they were coming from, and it was these like evil voices like coming up my leg. It's like telling me to enjoy these like these moments and all that. And further I went in, they were like sharp. I don't know how to explain these things. It was like sharp edges, like these energies. It was like hiding under my legs or something, and like near my thighs, and it was like sharp, like liking energies. And like I could clearly see where the likings were coming from, and I was just like, I just kept looking at them. Apart from that, so it was just like up and down, like back to the real world and going back up, back to the real world and going back up. So there were times like I would come back down. I didn't want to go back up, and there were times I was up and I didn't want to come back down. So it was just like my mind was just like going back and forth between those. But I was like slowly getting used to it. And apart from that, during my theater practice, or not just during, mostly during my theater practice, a lot of the times I felt like I was getting stuck. I was like, it was like this feeling of like being stuck, and I just couldn't get out of it. But like I just kept, I always just like just keep staying there. And I think over the last over the last couple of years, I got better at, I was like, before all this, like I was really scared of this emotion. I don't know how to explain it. But gradually I got better at facing it. And then I see this emotion getting manifested into my reality. Like, so this panic attack would always I would always experience this panic like throughout the day. And even that has been getting harder and harder to face. So this obstacle I feel like has been getting harder and harder to face. And especially today, like it got to like a whole new level. So I just kept facing it. It's to do with everyday activities. So like at the moment, I'm really struggling to find a job, and no matter what I do, I get this feeling that I'm stuck. Like I can't really. It's not like nothing's happening, and everything's just building up. My phone bills, all that stuff. Like I can't, and then like it manifests into this same panic attack. So the more I stay with it, like I know it ends up going away, but like it just gets harder and harder. So I sit with it, and then I get this like amazing satisfaction out of it. Like once it's done, and it leaves me wanting more of it. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but it completely lets me forget about the actual real life stuff. Like what the actual stress that I'm facing, and it gets like a different satisfaction out of it. But that's pretty much all I want to share.
Right. Now, when you said that this situation is coming to a whole new level, what's the difference between what you had faced in the past and now?
In the past, it will be little anxieties like, oh my god, this is not working. Like parents are going to judge me for not getting my life sorted. And it was like the little reasons, like sometimes like it'll be things like my bank account going negative, and my phone bill coming through, and all of a sudden my radio's coming through. It was just like these little things, and they would all just be piling up all together, like, and I'm not getting any of these things sorted. And today everything just piled on, like I tried one after the other, and everything just piled on. I tried to apply to be an Uber driver, Uber like an Uber Eats driver, and like even that, like I thought I would actually get a good outcome out of it. I was actually getting like a relief out of that throughout the week, and all of a sudden I have like my criminal background check. Apparently, it's got like a case that needs to be resolved. Apparently, I have a criminal record. Like it's not like a bad criminal record, but like apparently, so because of that, now I can't even do that, and even that added on, and it was just like 10 different reasons piled on together, and this panic attack was like went next level.
Okay. No, that's because usually when someone's practice is developing, all things that has to be paid off, so far as karma is concerned, is coming together because you will have to pay those things now, right? So therefore, this is why we have an English saying, troubles come in double, right? So that happens to the practitioner because now it is time for you to see how thick your skin is.
How, sorry?
So how thick your skin is. You should have a very thick skin to take all these things. So initially you are having little things and small things and small anxieties and things like that. But now everything has piled up, everything come at once, and any step that you take to sort those things out, they are also hitting back and nothing is moving. So when you know all these things, and you very nicely explain that. So this is very important because when people face this situation, they can't figure out what's going on. Now you very clearly figure it out and you observe the situation. You know the situation. You know the situation because you observe it, because you have seen what's going on.
Yeah.
And not only the external scenarios, you also observe what's happening within you. So that is very important. When those things are thrown back at you, see how you feel it physically. Observe that very carefully, and see how you feel it mentally as well. See at, what do I say? When thoughts are happening, see from which side, which place, which section of the head these thoughts are coming, and then keep the attention to that place, and don't stop it, and let that place work, and you simply keep observing physically. So therefore, even if it's a thought, we will have some connection to the body. Thoughts will not come from your ear or nose or mouth or eyes. It will come from the head. So you can feel that area and then observe that area. So therefore, when you observe that area, you don't put any negativities to that area. Whatever negativity that is in that area will go away. So therefore, things are bad. Nothing is getting sorted out. That's a fact. But you don't become a victim to it. Now, what most of us don't do is, we all have only negativities in the universe. How you use those negativity is avoiding adding negativity to it. If you don't avoid adding negativities to it, if you observe it, it gets composed. Then it becomes a positive energy. That observation becomes a positive energy. So if you try to sort out any bad feeling, seeing a doctor or doing something, then it's a negative that people say it's a positive thing to do. But what we simply do is we hate the present situation, we hate the present moment. That hates aggravates the negativity that is already in process. So therefore, what we will have to do is, negativity is there, we will have to compost it. To compost it, you simply observe. You just open the bin and see. You don't add anything. So then that negative energy naturally becomes a positive energy. So we can turn it to positivity so long as you don't add it. So more troubles you have more materials to work with. Right? So having said that, you can't go and say these things to to tell you that what do you call it, to Telstra. You can't go and tell that to your bank. Right? So they should have a way for that. So I think it is something that may be important for you to talk to the family. You don't keep it for yourself. Don't keep it for yourself, and tell them that probably they may be aware, and you straight away very clearly seek that financial help, because you are trying your level best to sort things out, but it is not working. And while you making a genuine effort, you get others' help to sort those initial things out, so that what is beyond our control is managed. Because you can't go and tell all these suppliers, I am observing the negativity I am going on, so just hold on. That's not possible. So you will have to sort that area out. To sort that area out, you need income. And to need income, either you will have to go to what you call, I'm forgetting them as well. The welfare unit, what do you call it?
I'm not sure.
The government
Oh, is it a
payment.
Centrelink, right?
Centrelink, yes.
Yeah.
So I've been
Yeah.
away from Australia for such a long time. See now, I've
That's
forgotten
okay.
the bands to ask.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
you'll have to go to Centrelink and sort it out, or
Yeah.
you'll have to talk to the family. I'm 100% sure that the family is going to help you.
Yeah.
So sort it out in one of those ways.
Yeah. So I answer, would that not interfere with like the actual clearing of the karmic process?
It will not. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. In order to allow the karmic process to go on, then it will go to a level where we can't do anything. Suppose they file a case against you, and then we are piling up things unnecessarily. So the karmic force is making you not to things happen the way that you wish, that you want. Now you are facing it well.
Yeah.
So since we have understood, since we have isolated the scenario, we will try to nip it from here.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is not 100% karmic force. Karmic force is only 20%.
Okay.
And there are four other factors affecting things. One is food, and the other is the season. The other is the mind, and the other is the type of the seed, how germination happens. There are a few other things. So here we will have to take the mind factor into account and use mind factor instead of putting everything into karma. That is also a wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want, go on.
Yeah. Especially like today, like I've always had these thoughts like, oh, if I take full accountability for my stuff, and facing myself without asking anyone, I become this like superior being or whatever, like this god.
Yeah, I know that should be the attitude of a human being.
Yeah,
and
like
not only the attitude, you have done that as well. But there is some block. So and that attitude, therefore, now the mind is trying to make use of that attitude and make you suffer more. Now we challenge that attitude.
Yeah, like because like today, I started having that attitude, and then all these like superior being stuff started coming again. Like I'm changing the world by doing this, like changing like the order of the world, and I'm trying to tell, like, is this actually happening, or is it just me like paying my karmic debts off or something?
Yeah. I mean, it's that mentality is only now creating this problem. That is exactly what Blessed One proposed monks. You will have to go to the road and beg food from strangers. See how difficult that is.
Yeah.
And you can't have any clothes. You will have to go to the graveyard and you will have to take a cloth that is wrapped in a dead body, and then wash that and then use that as a robe. These all are given to us to kill our ego, to kill that superiority complex that we have in our mind.
Yeah.
So therefore, now you have to kick that off. There is no superior being in us. The superior being, you can become a superior being if you kill the superior being. To kill the superior being, you will have to be extremely humble. I try to do things on my own and at my best, in my best way, but it's not working. So how can you guys help me? And in the meantime, I will keep trying.
Yeah.
And for you to become more superior, what you can do is you can reduce your expenses as well. Then it will be support for them, and that is superiority
Reduce the what? Sorry,
as
answer?
well. Now there are certain bills that you have got to pay,
Yeah.
and those bills because you spend the way you want,
Yeah.
right? So when you get someone else's help, you can help them by reducing your own expenses.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a superior thing to do.
Yeah.
So, so look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And sort it out that way. And in addition to our practice advices.
Yeah. Thank you
And
so much.
if you want, I can talk to someone in your family. But if you are happy to do it yourself, I don't mind.
I think I should be able to do it myself.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan
Saranai. All right. I think we can conclude. So, does anyone want to take this, please, and conclude?
Do this one. You want to do this? Or do you want me to?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Glasses, no.
That's all right. May all Davids share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all the beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly, I have done any wrong, forgive, O Master, O Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly, I have done any wrong, forgive, O Dharma, to be seen here and now, timeless. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly, I have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice well the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relative, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
Teruvan
So, thank you all.
Thank you,
Teruvan
Bhante.
Teruvan Saranai. Thank you.
Teruvan
Thank you for
Saranai.
joining. Teruvan Saranai.
Guys.